Hi GBs, a lovely November afternoon. It's a little chillier than it has been, but it's still not time for sugar bricks. You should still be feeding your bees or getting ready to end that, and with 2-to-1 syrup. And making sugar bricks for the future is for emergency feed and not for regular feed. So I'm going to show you 2 different ways to do this. First, it's going to be for the smaller beekeeper who only has 1 or 2 hives. And you take 2 cups of sugar, regular cane sugar. Do not get anything else, no natural sugar or anything like that. Pure grain, 100% sugar. You pour it in, and you take 2 tablespoons of water and a spoon, and you mix it around, mix it together, and it's going to get to the consistency of like sand when you're making a sand castle at the beach, so that you can mold it. And it's damp, but it's not wet, and it's dry, not dry where it doesn't form into a solid block. If you're a baker, think of packed brown sugar. When you're packing brown sugar, that's the consistency you want it to be. So it will be mixed together and damp. And I just take one of these Ziploc containers that you can buy at the grocery store, keep them, reuse them over and over again, and you put them in, put it into the container. The whole thing. And then you can take the back of the spoon and press it down. You can also take your hand. I like to get it going with the spoon first. And then I take my hand, just like if I were packing brown sugar, packing it real tight into the container so that it's going to form a solid brick. Pack it down on the sides real tight so it's in there like that. It's going to be about 1 inch to 1.5 inches, no more than that. You don't want it any thicker than that. And you want to make sure it's nice and packed down. And you're just going to let it sit in a fairly warm, room temperature. Room temperature. You can stick, and what I do is I stick it in the oven. I don't bake anything. When I'm not cooking, I just stick it in the oven and just let it sit there for a couple days. It doesn't matter. And we'll show you what it looks like when it's finished. But that's how you make a single sugar brick. If you only have 1 or 2 hives, you can make a couple of these. You can store them in a Ziploc bag. You can put them in the freezer. You can just keep them in your bee supplies, but make sure you keep it indoors where the mice can't get to it. But that's making a single sugar brick. Now, for the beekeepers who have more than 1 hive, like myself, I do it the easy way. I take my baking pan, like so, leave it sit there, and I have about 16 cups of sugar in this bucket, 5-gallon bucket. We all have these buckets if we're collecting honey. And the way I buy it is usually 10-pound bags like so from Sam's Club. And I have 14 cups in there now, and here's another 2 cups, and actually what this is the balance of the 10-pound bag to make a sugar brick. But you can use whatever amount you want, you just have to adjust the water. So this is going to be 16 cups. And they call for a cup of water for 14. So I'm going to go a little bit more. I'm going to go a cup and a half. Actually, I think that's too much. We'll do a cup and a quarter. We'll see how it looks. We have to adjust, we will. And then, because I tend to be a lazy beekeeper, I have my drill with my paint mixing wand on it that I got at Home Depot, and it's never touched paint, so I don't have to worry about that. I use this to mix my sugar water, and I use this to mix my sugar bricks. So I take this, sure I'm in the right. Whoop. And again, you're going to make it the same consistency like wet sand to make sand castles. Mix it together. Some people put apple cider vinegar, and I'm talking about the pure apple cider vinegar that has a little bit of the mother in it at the bottom. I tried that last year. I did not like it because it stunk up everything. It smelled like vinegar all the time. Couldn't stand it. And I think there is a reason for it, but I didn't have any problems with my bees, so I decided not to use it this year. So it takes about 2 minutes. And if you don't have a drill with that, you can always use a spoon. And a big handled spoon is the best. Now you don't want to have so much water in here that it takes longer to dry. And this has actually a little bit too much water in it, so I probably should have gone 1 1/8 cups. But that's all right, it'll dry eventually. So it's still the consistency of sand at the beach. So I'm going to take my pan here, baking dish or baking pan. It's got about 1 inch lip on it. Take my bucket. Spoon and dish out a little bit more here. Okay, and again I take the spoon and my hand, mush it down just like you would brown sugar. We're making a sandcastle on the beach. Press it down as tight as you can. And once you get it smooth and packed into the corners, into the sides, you can take your hive tool, or I don't have my hive tool today, so I just have a spoon, and I cut it into 3 sections. And split it down the middle. And each one will be a brick for each hive. So that's how I do my sugar bricks, the easy method. And again, I'll stick this in the oven and let it just dry naturally, no heat. Just leave it in the oven so it's protected, and allow it to settle up and get hard. And I will take a knife and just go around the side just to make sure it pops out easily. But once it's hard and solid, it generally pops right out. The same with the sugar brick in the container for the single one. It will pop out very easily, and we'll continue the video with that when they're ready. Okay, it's been a couple days. We did mix these sugar cakes up on Tuesday. This sugar cake was ready yesterday, Thursday, and I wanted to show you how it looks. Take it out of the container like that, and a little hard to tell, but when you ping it, it sounds like a brick. And it's solid, and you can just stick it right in underneath your quilt board or your shim for your condensing hive. You can put it right over top of your inner cover, the hole in your inner cover, or you can lay it right on top of the top frames of the hive body. But this is emergency feed. Generally, I don't put these on until January, if at all. But I'd rather have them on there than have them starve. So I usually just put them on. If they eat them, fine. If they don't, that's fine too. I can take them out and use them for next year. This is the pan that I made 6 sugar bricks out of. They still need to set a little bit longer. I did take one out and it sort of crumbled, but the good thing is that you can still use them. They're still good. So they're fine. I'm just going to let them sit on top of the radiator over the weekend, and by next week they should be fine. But again, this is all emergency feed and not something that you should just do. If you live in an area, if you have your hives in an area where there's a lot of wind and no windbreaks behind the hives or around the hives, you might want to consider putting up some straw bales or bee cozies or insulation board to help block the wind. It's not to keep them warm, it's just to block the wind. And that's basically about it. And try not to open the boxes too much. You basically don't look at them until maybe February, give or take, or I just open up the top to look to see if they need supplement feeding, emergency feeding, and just keep an eye on them that way. Just don't open the box and get in and start breaking your hive body up. They put propolis in the cracks to seal it, and that's their way of winterizing their hives. Other than that, you're good to go. So I hope the sugar bricks in 2 different ways to do it is going to help you decide on how to do it, and that way you'll be prepared for emergencies. Thanks a lot. Make sure you like and subscribe to our channel, and we'll have some more videos in the future. Thanks a lot. Bye now.